kidding.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to the road to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, where I'm going to be covering every Mission Impossible movie in honor of Final Reckoning coming to theaters this month. I've already covered Mission Impossible 1 with my Friday show partner Russell Howell, link in the eye in the right-hand corner, go check that out. But now we get into the difficult second album, Mission Impossible 2. This was released in the year 2000. It was directed by John Woo. We all know who he is. Pretty much the master of the operatic action film. It sees the return of Tom Cruise and also Dougray Scott and Thandie Newton, among others. And joining me to talk about Mission Impossible 2 is my tag team partner in Multiplex. He is the other half of the Rum Raptors. It is Zach Shelton. Zach, how are you?
Good. Yeah, when you asked me to be on here, I jumped at the opportunity, and when this movie became available, it gave me a chance to rewatch it, and I definitely have some thoughts.
The thing about Mission Impossible, like I said in the Mission Impossible 1 video, is that the series is so consistent that even what is considered the bad one, that being this one, is still pretty enjoyable, and I still stand by that. It's the least good of the franchise. That being said, though, there's at least some good stuff in here. Like, Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunts. He rock climbs. He nearly loses an eye with a knife. Like, that is a thing that actually happened. So there's at least some effort put forth into this. I just feel like there are some problems that the other Mission Impossible movies just don't have.
You and I might be on little different ends, because I actually really enjoyed the rewatch of this. I like, some people say maybe it's not the best Mission Impossible movie, but it's a great action movie, and that's sometimes what I want in this. It's just, I want to just sit down and watch a great action movie, and that's what I got.
For a generation, like, John Woo is known for directing this and Face Off. However, he is like a legendary action director. Like, Face Off is awesome. I don't care what anyone says. I love that movie to pieces. But he is widely respected in the action genre. Like, in Hong Kong and just generally, like, he is seen as a master of his craft. He has a definitive blind spot. I need to go see his more famous stuff. But like I said, Face Off is just a lot of fun, and it's great.
Mm.
And like I said, with Mission Impossible, what's unique about it is that, with the exception of this recent slate with like Rogue Nation onward, there was a different director attached to each one. Like, the one I'm going to be covering after this, Mission Impossible 3, is directed by J.J. Abrams, and that is secretly really good too. So every director brought something new to this. John Woo took Mission Impossible and he made a John Woo film. That's going to be fun for some and not so fun for others. And I think for you, Zach, it sounds like that was definitely fun.
Yes, it was a lot better than because it had been so long since I'd seen it, but it was just a fun rewatch.
In terms of Tom Cruise and like his role here, this is like the beginning of the Tom Cruise that we would know in this series, like, going forward. Because, like I said, he does a lot of his own stunts here. He's on motorcycles, he's climbing rocks. The knife stuff, like I've mentioned, I feel like I mentioned it a lot, but it's still gnarly none the same. The fact that he nearly lost an eye, it was like this close. I can't imagine that. And here, it feels like it's just the most extreme of the Mission Impossible movies up to this point, where it was like the original, it was like very clandestine, very below the radar. Here, it's like the complete opposite. It's full bore, over the top, like doves, like everything in a bag of chips that you would think of a John Woo movie.
I'm just laughing because I remember that part. It's
a John Woo movie. There's got to be doves.
Yes, but where they are in the movie, we're not going to tell you where it is. You'll enjoy it. So, but I feel like this like you said, like the rock climbing and the motorcycles, it kind of leads to what you get later on in the franchise with just how big can Tom Cruise go, and it's just like this just starts it. So I was going to say, in terms of the story, I think I will say the story I think is maybe for me is probably maybe the weakest, but I still was invested in it. But it's still, to me, it's weak.
I do agree, and I wanted to correct something that I said in my Mission Impossible 1 review. I said that with the exception of 2 and 4, Ving Rhames is not in the movie. Ving Rhames is very much in this movie. So he was in way more of these movies than I was anticipating. So the only Mission Impossible movie he wasn't in was 4, and he's in the rest. So that was an oversight on my part.
Him and Tom Cruise are like joined at the hip in these movies. So it's like,
I mean, he is literally the best friend. Not to dish any dirt on Ving Rhames, he's great, but just a lot of the times, like Luther Stickle is just there to be the moral support.
Again, we talked about John Woo in the action. He definitely has a certain style that he likes, but like I enjoyed it. Definitely, you get a lot of slow-mo, but I think it works. So
yeah, like if you all think Zack Snyder uses slow-mo too much, oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And then, like you said, with directors are different. Also, composers for each of these movies is different, and this one, very well-known composer, and that is Hans Zimmer. So,
not to mention that one of the most famous songs in the movie, the most famous song, is "Take a Look Around" by Limp Bizkit. If this movie wasn't 2000s enough, I love this song so much, Zach. Like
yes.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Like Limp Bizkit is a band. I don't want to get into it here, but I kind of get why people don't like them, but I've always liked them. They have way more good songs than people like to give them credit for. Like Break Stuff, that's a good song right there. And
I think people hate them just to hate them. I think it's the cool thing to do.
Exactly. And like I just forgot the name of the song. Build a Bridge is really good too, and My Way and Rollin'. And they have more good songs than people like to admit. And here, like, they took the Mission Impossible theme, the dun 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 dun, and they added electric guitars and rap rock, and it's kind of glorious when you listen to it.
Yeah, if you want an over the top action movie, you kind of need that in terms of music.
I don't think we're really hammering home how over the top this is. When Ethan Hunt receives his mission, it is via a pair of Oakley sunglasses, which he wears, and then he takes off, throws away, and they explode. Like that's like scene 2 of the movie, folks. This is a very good cast too. Like just Tom Cruise, Thandie Newton is in here as well. Brendan Gleeson is in here as well. I did not remember that he was in this movie, but he's in here. And he literally has like maybe one scene, but Anthony Hopkins is the head of the IMF in this movie, and you never see him again. That's a bit of a dropped ball right there. I'm not saying like make him the de facto director of the IMF, but I'm just saying like Tom Cruise and Anthony Hopkins on the same screen together just did not happen. So like it's crazy to think that, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the only time that Anthony Hopkins and Tom Cruise were in a movie together. Like, surely that cannot be the only case, but it seems that way. But it feels like we don't get a solid IMF director until Rogue Nation, where we get Alec Baldwin. But I feel like it was a revolving door where we got Kittredge in the first one. We got Anthony Hopkins here. We're going to get Lawrence Fishburne in Mission Impossible 3. In Ghost Protocol, Tom Wilkinson is the IMF director for literally one scene, and then he dies. So, like,
so it's kind of funny. We were talking about revolving doors with directors and with composers.
IMF directors.
So this franchise has just revolving doors of everything.
I think my biggest problem with the movie, and I feel like I feel like my biggest problem is that it feels like it's style over substance a bit too much. I feel like I feel like the main thing, the reason why this is all happening is that like Thandie Newton and Ethan Hunt were a thing, and then she falls in love with Doug Ray Scott, and then is like that's the reason they're fighting. It's a
Oh no,
love triangle.
other way around.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's why I have co-hosts, because whenever I screw up, they can be like, "Nope, it's actually this."
Yeah, again, like I said, story's not the greatest, and their relationship, I will say, is good, but I thought it could have been done better. But and what were your thoughts without giving much away? What did you think of Doug Ray Scott as the villain?
I thought he was okay. I feel like the only thing that people remember about him is that he turned down playing Wolverine for this.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he woke up and kicked himself in the morning when he made that decision.
So see, people should be giving this. People should be loving this movie more than just for that.
We got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, literally the same year that this movie came out. So
Yes.
that's better than nothing. But
Yes.
story is kind of weak. It just feels like it's mainly there. One of the main criticism that I see sometimes of Mission Impossible is that it feels like a story just exists so that Tom Cruise can do crazy things. And I'm like, that's a problem. Why? But I feel like here that's especially prevalent. You could make the story a bit more interesting. I feel like in between the gunplay and the motorcycle chases, there's like nothing really going on. It's just them staring out into the beautiful horizon of where they are at, which we will not spoil like where they are at. But I feel like it could have been jazzed up a bit more. It's especially glaring because in 3, they have a full-blown like retirement arc for Ethan Hunt, which he's like, just when I thought I was out, I get pulled back in, and that whole thing. So we go from the least story-dense Mission Impossible movie to the most story-dense one. But I'll talk about that when I get to 3.
Like I said, I like again what they have to recover. It's like it's a kind of an interesting thing they have to recover, but other than that, it's like again, it's very very stylized.
I get the feeling that from Zach and I, like we both like loved the action set pieces here. Some of them are just flat out amazing. Like at the very end where it's Doug Ray Scott and Tom Cruise, they're on motorcycles and they have like a joust. Like that, no Mission Impossible movie has done that since, and I don't think there ever will be.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's interesting is that people think like Tom Cruise is a big deal now. Like he was just coming off of a crazy 1990s. Like just in 99 alone, he was in Eyes Wide Shut and he was in Magnolia. Like think about that. Like he went from Stanley Kubrick's last movie to winning a Golden Globe for Magnolia. So like Tom Cruise was just like upper crust, like on top of the world. So like he was pretty much untouchable in this era.
Exactly. And it's weird because it's like this didn't really kickstart people knowing about him, but like it definitely helped, and so
exactly. And I don't want to forget mentioning this, but after the motorcycle joust, there's literally a Mexican standoff, which like Ethan Hunt kicks a gun like into his hands and like shoots him. It shoots Doug Ray Scott, and I thought that was just great too.
Yes, and I felt like it worked. And again, especially with these action scenes, again, we talked about a lot of slow mo, but like to me, I think it worked, especially in that part of it. It definitely worked. So
I agree. So this may seem a bit generous, but my rating, I'm going to give it a great rating. It's not a full-blown amazing. There are problems here for sure. And if people don't like it, I definitely understand why. But I have always had a soft spot for this movie, and I think that I always will. Because, like I said, this is easily the weakest Mission Impossible movie in the franchise, but this franchise is so consistent that even like the bad ones are still really good. There's lots of fun to be had here. There's more there's more action here than you can shake a stick at, which is both the blessing and the curse of the film. So
Yep.
it's not to say that this is like top tier. It's not. It definitely does have problems, but it's certainly not as bad as some people that I have heard say it is. It is a lot of fun, and I think that is all this movie was setting out to be, and I think that in a large part it succeeded.
Yes. And again, if you're going into it wanting a great action movie, then that's what you get. And again, it's a fun movie, and so just take it for that.
Exactly. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Mission Impossible 2? Let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. And Zach, thank you so much for joining me. You're going to be coming on to the channel again in the very near future for the 2000 project when Russell and I eventually get to high fidelity and
Yeah.
ready to rumble. So I'm going to have you on for that. But you
And
do
I'm
have a
looking forward to those. So
you do have a channel called Movie Fan Z. It'll be linked in the description of the video. What do you have coming up?
nothing. I don't. For me, I just do random movie reviews. So just go check out the channel, and I don't have a set playlist. I will maybe get to one of those in the future, but for right now, just check out Movie Fan Z on YouTube.
Yep, like I said, link below. Go give them a subscribe. As far as this channel goes, next up in the series, I will be taking a look at Mission Impossible 3. In certain ways, it is the most misunderstood Mission Impossible film and really signals the end of an era. We go from the just an action franchise era of Mission Impossible to something a bit more. But myself and Jake Collins from 3D Movie Cinema will be getting to that when we get to that. But for Zach Shelton, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one.